What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Ladies, Leans, Likes, and Locks MLB. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. We're, of course, partnered with BetMGM here right now. I also have the prize pick shirt on because, well, I'm doing pick'em content. We have Lindy's Pick'em Leans, Likes, and Locks over at the Odd Chopper channel every Monday through Friday. Check that out. Not going to just be talking MLB. If there's anything at those sites, I don't care if it's esports or tennis, or if I find anything with a solid expected win percentage, I'm going to be giving it to the people there. But of course, the thing I want to say thank you for the absolute most here on Monday, there were a lot of you who checked out Lindy's updated locks. Yes, we're talking Lindy's locks updated. That is over on my Twitter at Eric Lindquist. You can go follow me there. I can't say thank you enough for everybody checking out that video. Hopefully it helped you make some informed decisions when it came to that Mets lock. Looks really good here early. 5-0 Mets. That's a really nice start. Lindor just goes long here too. All right, well, hopefully we can get that one home because that was a very large stand. It was the play that I said I was going to be invested the most on for a plus money line I can remember all season long. Well, it's a fact. It's in the spreadsheet. But appreciate everybody watching the process of me researching it, throwing the information your way, so we cannot just give you the bets. I can talk through the bets, and hopefully you can come to an informed decision, just like I try to every single day. Sometimes I'm a dunce cap, though. It is what it is. We got producer Jacob along. He's excited to be along for the ride. Woo! 15 games, bruh. 15 games, bruh. Oh, yeah. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Those are his favorite days of the week. That's what he just told me. Just like BetMGM, he told me is his favorite book. You can get 2 months of premium Odd Chopper Discord. You want my betting card every single month, well, Sunday through Friday. Yes, Saturday, day of rest for me, but it's been fire here for the last week and a half, 2 weeks of just everything. We're hitting homers. We're hitting money lines. We're hitting totals. I don't know what happened, but it's almost like NBA being in the rear view gives us a little bit more time, energy, and flexibility to do all of the things we want to in the MLB streets. Let's keep it going. Only if you're 21 and over, and if you have gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But check out BetMGM. It's called Odd Chopper for a reason. I want you shopping for the best odds, but we'll talk about them. Talk about another lovely little sponsor of ours later on the program, but we got a lot of baseball to talk about. Thank you again. Check me out on Twitter at Eric Lindquist. Lindy's locks updated. That's good stuff. But until then, friends, until you see me then on Tuesday afternoon, let's get ourselves to the picks for this lovely 15-gamer before us. What an interesting game we have right out the get-go. Spencer Strider and the Atlanta, I almost said Falcons. Is anybody else getting ready for NFL? I'm starting to get itchy. I'm starting to jump in the best ball lobbies. I'm starting to do a little bit of research. I'm getting excited. You're excited? I'm excited. But it's the frickin' Braves. I should know what sport I'm talking about. That's usually a good start. Going up against Ranger Suarez, and wild to see these two pitchers going in different directions their last 2 starts. Ranger Suarez, that was the crazy thing that made me want to do Lindy's updated locks over on Twitter because, well, Arizona came out with the most dog shit lineup I've ever seen in my entire life, and, well, Ranger Suarez mowed him down. 7 Ks, 11 ground balls, 7 innings strong, 4-3 W there for Philadelphia, and glad to have switched my perspective in that one. As for Spencer Strider, well, what? Gave up 5 earned to Detroit, 8 earned to the Mets, and, 4.12 ERA for our stud? You're supposed to be the chosen one. Little Anakin Skywalker for everybody this lovely evening or morning. Don't know when you're listening to me, but it's Anakin Skywalker. Who cares? Spencer Strider, I care about him. 39.2% K rate, 195 expected batting average, 284 xWOBA. He's still very good, and I'm just going to write off 2 starts because sometimes in these short samples, you can really overthink it. You can really talk yourself out of a good play in the event that you're just not ready. But here's the thing. It's Philadelphia, and they absolutely have lefty power for days when it comes to the likes of a Mr. Kyle Schwarber. You have Mr. Bryce Harper. And Bryce Harper's just going to keep getting better and better as this season goes along. Brandon Marsh out there with a 51.2% hard hit percentage. That's leading this baseball team, which is absurd to say out loud. And yes, for all the people who care about that, it's the month of June, it's Schwarber season. Woo. Of course, it's the summer. The ball's going to fly for conversation for a different day. Not this one. I can't do it. And Ranger Suarez, insanely difficult spot against a Braves team, almost said Falcons again, Braves team that continues to put up infinity runs every single time out, even if Ronald Acuna went cold over the weekend. Doesn't matter what your name is, 8, 10, and 14 runs against Colorado. But you know what? That was against Colorado. Not that this bullpen is exponentially better, but just throwing it out there, something to pay attention to. So I'm staying away from this game altogether as of right now, but I could have interest in the K prop for Strider. I could have hitter interest on the other side for the Phillies. I don't know what to do with this game until props drop, because right now, prop lock and drop it. I don't know. Atlanta money line, just a lean to get our day going. I don't think I'm going to be able to pull the trigger at these numbers. Hey, what do you say, Tampa Bay? We got Tyler Glasnow, one of my favorite pitchers in baseball. Nice to have him back in the fray, even if there are some issues going on there. But he's going to be facing Kyle Bradish here and these Baltimore Orioles, where, but you know what I think about that starting rotation? Not my favorite. Kyle Bradish, 44.4% hard hit percentage, 266 expected batting average, and he is facing a Tampa Bay team that murders, pulverizes, destroys, obliviate. That's Harry Potter for the people. 125 WRC plus here against righties on the season. That's just good luck, Kyle Bradish. Let me know how this goes. But Tyler Glasnow, he's just getting going too, and I love seeing the Ks right back in our lives. 29.5% K rate, striking out lefties and righties alike, but it's been a little bit hairy here, and part of that is the walks. 3, 3, and 4 through 4 starts. It's a little bit sketchy. It's a little sketchy with a 12.5% walk rate, 51% hard hit percentage, and you know who can punish you for those kind of things? The Baltimore Orioles with their lineup that, you know, we've been backing them as dogs pretty routinely, so it's kind of a weird spot. I think the difficult thing for me to get a grasp of is what I'm going to do if there's no Gunnar Henderson in this lineup. Since he started in the leadoff spot, he has come alive. And the StatCast data was already there for him, a 49.6% hard hit percentage, a 450 expected slugging, and a 13.5% walk rate. Nice of him to be getting on base because he can run. He is fast. There's a lot of those guys in this Orioles lineup. So there is run creation sitting there, even in Tampa Bay, where Park's just yielding more runs than it normally does because Tampa Bay decided to be good this year. So tough for me to get a grasp on what I want to do here as well. So Tampa Bay -1.5, simply a lean because I do think the more aggressive number, if you can just guess the Gunnar Henderson news right, and if Kyle Bradish does normal Kyle Bradish things and gets hit up, sweet. You're probably sitting on the nuts, and this is a really good value piece, but Glasnow walks with Gunnar Henderson at the top of this lineup doesn't feel as good. So I'm going to sit and wait. Tampa Bay on the run line, but just a lean right now. Let's get ourselves to some actual plays here. Daniel Lynch and the Kansas City Royals going up against the Detroit Tigers and Michael Lorenzen, who, again, this is not a results-based type deal. He's just not all that good. And I get that the 1.09 whip might make some people say, well, he's better than you think. Well, he's still not getting strikeouts. You still have some type of power from the left side that exists in that Royals lineup. Not much of it. MJ Melendez, 51.9% hard hit percentage. Bobby Witt going yard a lot. Sal Perez, Miguel Garcia. And this Tigers team that was alive until June. Now they've fallen by the wayside like the entire AL Central because it's a dog doo-doo division. Michael Lorenzen, it's not a good spot with a 17.9% K rate against anybody. But Daniel Lynch, same thing can be said about him on this side of it. 19.4% K rate. This lefty is going to be facing a Detroit team that, well, they can actually do stuff from time to time against lefties. And 99 WRC plus is kind of impressive for them. Them being average at anything is a plus in that department. And I think this is where you just kind of start riding some of the summer months here as we're getting into it more and more. Detroit has actually been one of the places where we've seen warmer temperatures compared to some of the East Coast spots where it's just still not been there. But coming off of an interesting spot, it's at least 80 degrees, 81 degrees. It's expected at first pitch. This is a big ballpark where you can create with doubles in the gap and things of that nature. Not necessarily great for homers, but you're seeing improvement from some of these guys, especially one Spencer Torkelson. Shout out the number one prospect in baseball from a year ago. Looked anything but in 2022. He is starting to come alive with a 49.2% hard hit percentage. He's alive. But also, we have to pay attention to more news on this side of things because, well, there's a lot of outfielders banged up. Riley Green on the IL. Austin Meadows, even though he's been terrible this year, on the IL. And now Matt Vierling day-to-day here. I hope he's able to be in the lineup on Tuesday, but he was not in it on Monday. And that's been their second best hitter against lefties overall. A 286 expected batting average. That's top on the team for batters that actually qualify, a 466 expected slugging, which flat out leads the teams amongst batters who qualify. I know Kerry Carpenter probably going to be in this lineup even left on left, but interesting profile across the board here. Interesting game where I think run creation is going to be solid. 9.4 runs here, 80-degree weather, whatever. I just think this is too much respect for this spot. Over 8.5, first play that's on the card for a half unit. There's only one place if you want to be forged in the fires of Mordor. You must go right to the Toronto Blue Jays lineup, and we find out if you're for real. Yuri Perez, gonna be a fun one. He's going up against Yusei Kikuchi, so I bet you have a feeling that, what I might do in this spot. Now, I am still gonna call it a lean on the Miami side. I do not want to be pulling the trigger here at this specific number, but I think there's a chance to maybe back Yuri Perez in the K rate department. Now, I think there's going to be massive plus money on the over of 5.5 here. I think 4.5 is more than likely where this line ends up. Curious to see where the juice is on that number because Yuri Perez, he has been phenomenal. The massive Adonis of a human, 212 expected batting average, 25.4% K rate. The 6'8" slinger, absolute 97, 98 on the gun slinger there. Yuri Perez, 3.78 expected ERA, 1.80 actual ERA. He's been special. He has lived up to the billing. He's pitching in the best ballpark in baseball. Now for the difficult part of things. The K rate against this Toronto team. They strike out just 20.6% of the time against righties as a team. That's sixth best at avoiding it in baseball. They have a 113 WRC plus, so I know that the bats went cold here for Toronto on Monday. As I'm looking at it, let me get a live update. Yep, they're down 9-0, bottom 7. That seems bad. Seems bad. Didn't have a play on that one at all. Jorge Soler keeps going yard against everybody. Jorge Soler, by the way, probably going to go yard on Kikuchi, so maybe could have made that a lean. Lots of prospective plays from this one, but I wanted to highlight Yuri Perez mainly because I think you're getting plus money on those Ks, and he has accomplished the feat 4 of 7 starts, which doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot to me, but it's fun to talk about. So Yuri Perez, like the talent, like just the ability for him to rack up strikeouts. We got to see what that Toronto lineup rolls out at, or if we want, we could just blindly take it as long as we're getting nice plus money. We're talking north of plus 135 and the over 5.5 if the books are forcing us into an under. God forbid. God forbid. We have Seattle and New York, and I'm excited about this baseball game from a real life perspective, but on a 15-game slate, feel like you're forcing it, going with George Kirby and the Seattle Mariners up against Garrett Cole and the New York Yankees. Now, maybe we get some bats like Jared Kelenic, Julio Rodriguez going into Yankee Stadium. Maybe we get some nice home run props or some nice total bases props or something, but something tells me we probably don't. And Garrett Cole, he hasn't been the typical Garrett Cole. 26.4% K rate is down, 7.8% walk rate is fine, 314 xWOB is fine. Just seems like he's really good, and well, we have very high expectations for him when he doesn't quite meet those exact numbers. But George Kirby's been surprising me as well. A 292 xWOB, a 37.7% hard hit percentage, and if you made me take a side on this one, I would be looking at the Seattle money line, and that's why they are on as the lean plus 120 over at FanDuel Sportsbook. This is a number that actually grades out on my spreadsheet as something I should have on the card, but it also grades out like 11 plays on the card right now. I know I'm going to have prop interest later, so sometimes caution is the better part of valor or something. They say some shit like that. I don't know. Sounded prophetic and smart and Shakespearean. To be or not to be, that is the question, whether it is nobler in the minds to suffer the outrageous arrows of outrageous fortune, suffer the slings and arrows of outrage. Whatever. Seattle money line, just a lean. Friends, oh friends, I tell you all the time, but it's called Odd Shopper for a reason. I want you signed up at every single sports book you possibly can. And why? Well, one, they give out great deals to do it, but two, you always want to be shopping for the best line. If you're just going to lunch at one diner and you have identical food at two spots, let's just call that the Cincinnati money line special. Or, I don't know, Kansas City. They have great barbecue. That seems good. Kansas City baby back ribs at diner number 1, and then Kansas City baby back ribs at diner number 2. If they are of the equivalent value, which is like just expected win, why would you go to the place that is more expensive unless it has a nice view? I would totally understand in that case. But what I'm getting at is why pay more when you can pay less for the exact same bet? It's crazy to me. So it would be crazy for you not to sign up at some place like BetMGM, mainly because you get two great things in addition to signing up over there. Number one, You're going to get 2 months of the Odd Shopper Premium Discord. Yes, the Lindy Insider channel. Myself, I'm in there posting my betting card every single Sunday through Friday, posting also prize picks plays, underdog plays, whatever you're looking for, I'm going to be firing it up here, betting alongside you, and you can see exactly what is on my card day in and day out. Don't like it? Awesome. It was free. So there's that. There are a lot of lovely paying members that are phenomenal people. Love having them along for the ride, and it's just a great community. We're all in it together to win money. So jump in that channel for 2 months, see exactly why it is that everybody's hanging out there. But number 2, my friends, you're going to get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet loses. So get this. If you deposit $50 at BetMGM, and that's what you're comfortable betting with that first bet, if it wins, you keep the money of whatever you won. But if it loses, you're going to get yourself $50 back in bonus bets immediately from BetMGM, all the way up to $1,000. So put in 100. You'll get 100 back in bonus bets, all the way up to $1,000. That's a gigantic spread. I know there's going to be people who want to play more or play less, whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever you can responsibly put in play, do it at BetMGM because it is an absolute bonus bet spectacular. No words were ever vernacular. That's what they taught me in Moulin Rouge. But either way, BetMGM, friends, only sign up for it if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Alrighty, y'all, back to the picks. Welcome to the home run department, and this is a little bit of a strange spot to me because I do have Washington projecting out plus 1.5 yet again. I was able to pull off the trigger when it came to Monday. I ended up hitting the cash out button for a tiny, minuscule little loss. Told everybody in the Discord, stay away from it, mainly because there are some weird iterations of this Nationals lineup, and also, I don't necessarily trust what I'm looking at with some of the hard hit data. And when you're looking at temperatures starting to increase out there in Washington for some of these road teams with potent bats. And I don't know, maybe you noticed, this St. Louis lineup is still really freaking good, especially when you start talking about the righties in it facing lefties. And wouldn't you know it, Mackenzie Gore, who's been the one Washington National we have routinely been backing this season, I have to stay away in this spot. It's him and Jordan Montgomery. So battle of the Southpaws. Let's talk about Montgomery first because we're going to be targeting Gore. But Jordan Montgomery, 37.2% hard hit percentage. That's lovely. 421 expected slugging. That's not as lovely. Sub 22% K rate. Not as fun either. But I still find him to be the preferable one if trying to target any kind of K props, mainly because I think Mackenzie Gore is going to be inflated in the marketplace for what you could expect. And there is a very good chance that the buck stops here or the run stops here, or well, not the run, because I do find Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt to routinely be one of the easiest or two of the easiest plug-in plays against lefties that God has ever created. Mackenzie Gore, 27.5% K rate. It's fantastic. But a 10% walk rate, a 331 xWOBA, and a 43.1% hard hit percentage with 60% fastball usage. Oh boy, if that curveball and slider are not on, or if he hangs one, he's in a lot of trouble here in this spot. You're looking at Mr. Arenado, you're looking at Mr. Goldschmidt, and who do I prefer in 85-degree weather at first pitch in Nationals Park? Well, Paul Goldschmidt, who had over a 240 WRC plus last season against lefties, which is just make-believe kind of stuff. That's not even real life. I thought the spreadsheet was wrong. It's not wrong. It's never wrong. He's got a 391 xWOBA, 539 expected slugging this season, and a 55.2% hard hit percentage. I think you can also use Jordan Walker in this equation. I also think Wilson Contreras makes sense in this equation. All of these righties with power going up against Mackenzie Gore, I think are very live for every batter prop. Now, it's not like the books don't know this, but that's where this entire chasm, this entire game gets interesting. I'm going to call Paul Goldschmidt to home run the lean because he's just routinely a god amongst men against lefties, but there's an outside chance that I end up on Mackenzie Gore in a K prop spot as well. So this is going to be an interesting game. If you want to know what I end up on here, hit me up on Twitter at Eric Lindquist. That's also where I'm going to be dropping Lindy's Locks updates. So you're going to want to tune into it anyway. Good stuff. Giving you updated information the day of. Hopefully that comes in handy for everybody involved. But until further notice, Paul Goldschmidt to home run, my favorite play in this one, just a lean right now. The Cubbies taking on the Pirates for another fun go-around, and Marcus Stroman on the mound going up against Johan Oviedo here, the strengthened out bullpen arm who turned to a starter here with the Pirates, came from St. Louis. It's been all right, but not good. 4.40 ERA, 1.47 WHIP, 3-6 record. Again, they're not winning ball games behind him in any way, shape, or form, mainly because, well, Pittsburgh's going to be due for negative regression. It just has to be coming. I like Ke'Bryan Hayes. I like Brian Reynolds a ton. Jack Sawinski against righties. There are a lot of pieces that I do like. But against a guy like Marcus Stroman, who strikes out more lefties, who definitely has improved his ground ball rate and improved a lot of his pitching performance over the course of this season, this is another spot that I think you want to be on the other side of it. And this becomes our first, I believe, our first official money line play of the day. Wild, because yesterday it felt like I had a couple that I liked. I liked Cincinnati. I liked Arizona. I liked, well, for sure, the Mets. That was the big one. My largest stand of the year in terms of money lines. So cool stuff there. Hopefully they can continue the good play, the good form here. Max Scherzer looks really good early here too. It snuck a peek. Yeah, you're right. I got baseball in the corner. I'm a sick person. But either way, back to work here. We have a K rate that goes up for Marcus Stroman, like the profile against this Pittsburgh Pirates team that they have some guys who can be lefty killers, either Brian Reynolds, Andrew McCutchen, things of that nature. But as I look at this team long-term, Pittsburgh's with a 93 WRC plus against righties, 158 ISO. Stroman profiles pretty decently, even though, just like most pitchers, giving up more power to lefties, also striking them out more. So increased to his 21.6% K rate he has against both-handedness. So that is a pretty easy equation when you're getting the Cubbies at minus 126 here at FanDuel Sportsbook. Drastically different than BetMGM and DraftKings at minus 135. I would be staying away at that number, but half unit play, minus 126. Fire that one up here. First money line of the day. Oh, gross. God, are we going to run into a good pitching matchup ever here? Cincinnati. Well, at least we got a line here. That's fine. It's finally showed up. It's perfectly efficient. We got Mr. Lively. Isn't that who it is for Cincinnati? Ben Lively. Oh, whoop-de-doo, Basil. What does it all mean? And then Kyle Freeland going for the Rockies. He's a free hit Freeland for the most part. Now, it's not official here. There were some books now that are starting to release it, so it is official, I suppose. But 465 expected slugging, 277 expected batting average for Freeland, and a 15% K rate. Oh boy. If you're giving up power and you're not striking out righties, you're going to run into some power in Cincinnati. It's the best ballpark in baseball. 4 homers. You have Elly De La Cruz. You have Spencer Steer. Even left on left, Joey Votto. Hey, welcome to the party. Went yard on Austin Gomber, his first game back. That's good to see. Of course, Jonathan India, Matt McClain, Will Benson, Tyler Stevenson, if he gets his head out of his you-know-what. A lot of righties who can do some damage here, but do I want to back Ben Lively too much here? At this kind of number, we're talking north of minus 150. I think this is a better stay away. Again, minus 165, current best available number at DraftKings Sportsbook. So I think this is just simply a play the numbers game, stay away from that. If I did anything, I think I'd go the aggressive route simply for the run creation purposes against Kyle Freeland, minus 1.5 at plus 115 at DraftKings Sportsbook, best available number. But it's not going to be on the card as of right now. Maybe that changes tomorrow. Maybe this drops inside of that, but I very highly doubt it. Cincinnati minus 1.5 with this whole game, more than likely a stay away. Yeah. If you want to know the play in a nutshell, whatever I just said there, that's what this is. We have Oakland, we have Cleveland, we have funky Cole Medina, Luis Medina on the mound going up against Aaron Savale. And, well, wild to think that this is a pitching matchup that I am breaking down and that this is my job because I would like to really not do it. Luis Medina, he's terrible. 46.3% hard hit percentage, 369 xWOBA, 505 expected slugging. Does have the 21% K rate, which is still not above average, but it's not as horrific as you might expect considering I am thinking about targeting the over in this one, but it's already pretty inflated here in terms of juice, in terms of what we're looking at. Already at 9. It moved pretty quickly. The 8.5 that's sitting there on the board is juiced minus 115. So yeah, it's going to be a play though on the plus 1.5 for the Oakland side, mainly because Aaron Savale on the other side doesn't give up hard hit, but a 257 expected batting average and a sub 20% K rate with a bunch of garbage pitches and not really any kind of put away pitches here. We've seen this Oakland lineup start to put improvement together, and not because they had a 7-game win streak. I really don't care about that whatsoever. But I think that there's going to be some targetability here. This 2.67 ERA for Aaron Savale is an absolute mirage. He has a 3.97 expected ERA in StatCast data, a 349 xWOBA. Now, it's not terrible. It's actually fairly middle of the road here. But this is just a value thing. You start putting up plus 1.5s in these spots at even money, and I think you just take it. Yes, it's the road team, which, again, maybe I need to try to sprinkle the money line in, especially because FanDuel opened that with plus 198. We are really shopping for odds, friends. Odd Shopper. Utilize it. Use it. Love it. You need it. But I think this is a run line where I just plus 1.5 seems like a pretty big number to be getting against Savali, one of my least favorite pitchers, compared to what ERA might suggest for them so far through this season. So there you go. Oh God, oh God. Try to back an Oakland team with an 86 WRC plus here in Cleveland. What could possibly go wrong? Finally, a normal game. Ken, I'm definitely going to be playing that Oakland one, though. It's a gross spot. It's a disturbing world we live in. But my Minnesota Twins here in this spot, with Cutter Crawford and Bailey Ober going at it here, another part two of this Boston Red Sox series. And Cutter Crawford's really good. A 33.3% hard hit percentage, 282 xWOBA, 24.6% K rate, good against full-handedness. The question has routinely been when was his pitch count going to get ramped up? He was fully stretched out to begin the season, had 93 pitches in that first outing he had, got minimized down to 65, then 33, and I don't know why. I mean, he gave up 7 earned in that debut, so that probably not helpful, but he has since turned it on, and I know he gave up 4 earned against Colorado, and I know these numbers might not maintain as he goes from the bullpen role, where he had been sitting there a little bit. He had done like long reliever duty, 2 innings, 4 innings, inning and a third in a couple of spots. Well, I still think it's going to be pretty good. 1.13 whip. Looking at the StatCast data, looks like he's one of the unluckier pitchers on the board based on what his StatCast data is. And Bailey Ober, I don't know when the switch flipped for this guy, but he's a lot better than I ever expected him to be. He looks up there like a goofy stork. Always fun to watch a 6'9" guy throw softballs up there. Not softballs, but like 91. That's not your average velocity for most 6'9" throwers up there. Wild stuff. But a 2.65 ERA, we shouldn't expect that to maintain. He's got a 3.89 expected ERA. Looking at the 4-seamer changeup slider combination, everything seems to be working pretty darn well. He's getting whiffs north of 25.8% on all 3 of those pitches, and he's only throwing the curveball 8% of the time. So basically, a castaway pitch there at the very end that goes to castaway. Going at it alone. I didn't know if I wanted to go Green Day or Tom Hanks with that. It was the only opportunity. So whatever, friends. The under is what looks nice here for me. 8.5. Looked at the humidity there in old Minnesota. 80 degrees. That's not ideal, but also these are 2 pretty good pitchers on the mound. I get that we get some lefty power there from Minnesota, and I get there's always lefty power available in this Boston lineup, but think they will minimize the damage and just get it turned over to the bullpen. Minnesota, let's go. Bailey Ober, good stuff. Under 8.5, half unit play, pretty straightforward. But the people like overs, so overs they shall have. And well, this is a good spot for it. Ryan Nelson and the Arizona Diamondbacks, who just hung an absolute crooked number on Corbin Burns in that first inning, going up against Colorado. 43.3% hard hit percentage for Ryan Nelson, 14.7% K rate. He has no out pitch, just none. 55% 4-seamer usage, the slider, cutter, change, curve. He's looking for something. It looks like he's looking for something. It's not going well. Just a 19.8% whiff percentage across all pitches and a 10.4% barrel percentage. Zoic Scoob. This would have been my second lock on the board, but I decided to pull back just a little bit here. And the reason why is Colin Ria and this Arizona team. I mean, they're absolutely putting it on Milwaukee, and I think they might save up some of their better bullpen arms for another day in the event that this one gets crooked early. You could get in that long relief start type spot. It's 7-1 mid-4th, and you still have Corbin Burns in the game. And if you're not going to be utilizing your top pitchers here, I want to at least tread lightly when it comes to some of these bullpen arms for Milwaukee. They have a couple pieces. As you're looking through it on Fangraphs, but very much looking at the over of 9 here because similar to Ryan Nelson, Colin Ria, he ain't got it, friends. 45.1% hard hit percentage, 21.6% K rate. Just, he limits the barrels in a far more pronounced way, but this Arizona team is flat out freaking good, friends. You're looking at them with an 110 WRC plus here against right-handed pitching on the season. That's only going to go up after this start. Wild stuff that we're seeing them just light it up against Corbin Burns in that first inning. And Looks like they added another one to the fray. So over of 9 is where I would be landing in this one. Simply alike, but it could have been maybe that turns into a unit. I'm going to just kind of wait and see. Yes, my friends, we are back. It is Manscaped. And if you're feeling extra manly this lovely day, or if you're a sweet, sensitive individual like I am myself with feelings, intuition, and a sense of community and purpose, well, Manscaped is for you. It is for every type of man out there if you care about taking care of yourself. And if you do, there is no better chance than right now to give you and your partner exactly what you've always been wanting, a good, clean path to fun. And that starts with Manscaped, my friends, the Platinum Package. We're talking the Lawnmower 4.0, which I can't tell you enough how lovely this thing is. You can get every little piece of your body. It doesn't nick you, even using it without a blade. Yes, you heard me. I literally will use like the metal piece of the blade, and it actually never nicks me. It's truly insane. They have the Peak Hygiene Plan where you can sign up for the recurring plan, get new blades, new other things all the live long day. That's fun too. They have the Crop Preserver, the Crop Reviver, the Perfect Package 4.0. That is a very straightforward below the belt little gift. That's good stuff, not in UFC, but the Beard Hedger Pro Kit as well for all of you lovely bearded lads. Yes, we're talking big burly men or super sweet sensitive IPA making beer makers. We love that too. Beard Hedger Pro Kit is for you. Hey, producer Jacob, that'd be perfect. Congratulations. 20% off for you and everybody else. Free shipping from Stokastic when you sign up today. Go to that link below. Check out our friends at Manscaped. And thank you so much to them for checking out our program. And for all of you, taking care of yourself. That's the name of the game. Take some of that Mets money that we hopefully win on Monday. Find yourself a nice little Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Yeah, the Platinum Package 4.0 Luxury Body and Grooming Kit. This is the good stuff, my friends. This is the good life. Check it out, manscaped.com. Promo code Stokastic, 20% off plus free shipping. Yay. Back to the picks. Alrighty, we're middle of 5 here. Mets are still up 5-0 on Houston. Beautiful stuff. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Just want to keep it going for the people. Don't forget to check out Lindy's Locks Updated on twitter.com. Go follow me at Eric Lindquist. Would love to have you. Love to give you the updated information on any and all locks. That will not be today in this game, that's for sure. We have the return of Justin Verlander to Houston. I am so looking forward to this, but how in the world do you go about betting this with Framber Valdez on the other side and looking at some of these numbers? Answer, you just don't. Because I literally have this as close to efficient as humanly possible. It might seem a little bit strange because, again, I was just targeting the Houston lineup the other day. Eric, what's going on? Well, I thought Hunter Brown had a path against some lefties to have some problems, and surely enough, the Mets, Daniel Vogelbach starts a rally. Beautiful stuff. Talked about that on the video as well. Hopefully you can see all of my research in action. I can't do that on every single one of these plays. I wish I could. But then we'd have a 2-hour video. Producer Jacob would be a millionaire, and he'd probably be really happy, but I would be broke. So it is what it is. But the Mets, plus 124, that's perfectly efficient. Best available line here on FanDuel Sportsbook. If you're trying to make something work here, I don't know. It would probably be the under 7.5 at the current number. But Framber Valdez, we're starting to see some of that hard hit percentage take its toll. Now, he still has one of those elite ground ball rates. It's not negative launch angle like we saw last season, which is just still one of the funnier things, but right around that 60% number. If you have that for a ground ball rate, you are absolutely elite beyond elite. He's at 58.7% for the season, getting that weak contact from time to time, but not a whole lot lately. Just a 2.9% weak percentage hard hit contact profile. That's kind of what keeps this off the card for me, is I do think that there's enough righty power with the return of Pete Alonso, with Mark Canha, who surely will probably be in that lineup against a lefty. Tommy Pham starting to really come alive. 559 expected slugging, 395 xWOBA. Where did that come from? Zoink Scoob. So under 7.5, tread lightly, just a lean. We got the Rangers and Chicago here, another studly pitching matchup that we have before us in this one. Nathan Eovaldi, Dylan Cease, and shout out Dylan Cease. Probably one of the more impressive pitching performances I've seen. However, I want to at least let it be known. The umpire was giving him a couple of called strikes, like called strike threes. There were legitimately 6 to 8 inches off the zone. When are the robot umpires showing up? I know we're all going to be ruled by ChatGPT very soon that this is going to be Terminator 58 or whatever movie version they're on now at this point in time. But until our overlords made of metal and no string come before us and take us over, Dylan Cease, you shouldn't have been getting some of those called strikes. But hey, box score, 10 Ks, just 2 earned, 5 1/3 against the Dodgers. That's pretty good stuff. Tough luck that he didn't end up getting the win in that one, because there was still some really phenomenal at-bats that he had in that one. Always impressive to go toe-to-toe with the Dodgers in that fashion. That being said, what in the world are we doing here? Nathan Eovaldi, I mean, this number is a little bit skewed towards him, but do I want to be targeting this Texas team? I don't think so. Nathan Eovaldi, 279 xWOBA, 359 expected slugging. He has these ridiculous Texas bats behind him with a 118 WRC plus against righty pitching this season, and that happens to be what Dylan Cease is. And Dylan Cease gives up hard contact, 47.2%. He needs to miss bats, 26.2% K rate. It can get a little bit hairy there, but I do like the improvement to the stuff here as he's gone along. So can he get enough swings and misses? Sure. I think that's where the number is starting to show up for me. Plus money. Yeah, plus money to be going towards this Chicago White Sox team. I think that could have been good enough to maybe make the card, but just a lean. We continue on. Definitely don't want to be backing that bullpen right now. I know it's kind of a weird card here right now, mainly because there's either very elite pitching facing off against each other or whatever this is. Seth Lugo going up against Anthony DeSclafani here, Padres and Giants. And Seth Lugo of the Padres, 462 expected slugging, 275 expected batting average. Not good at all. He's coming off the IL here for this one, 15-day injured list. He is the projected starter. We just got to make sure of it. He has not made an appearance since May 16th. With a calf strain, I believe it was. I can't remember exactly. But he went to AAA El Paso. You should know by now, if you watch my program, the PCL, it is steroids baseball. It is insane how many runs are scored. It is impossible to take anything out of any of those starts. But before he was hurt, he wasn't exactly good, so I don't know what he necessarily went and found. The only good thing he has going for him is he's pitching in San Francisco. Literally it. But there's enough lefties here who can do some damage. However, speaking of lefties who could do damage, how about guys facing Anthony DeSclafani from that side? A 46% hard hit percentage, 277 expected batting average, and just an 18.2% K rate. And it's not that Juan Soto strikes out, because he doesn't strike out. But we are looking at this individual in DeSclafani. Looking at some of his splits, he has given up power to everybody, but a 1.36 whip against lefties compared to a 1.03 whip against righties. Now, that makes me interested in the total bases prop for some of the lefties. Makes me interested in backing them to score runs and things of that nature, which we have projections for, or excuse me, not projections, but market-based approach analysis where you can find the best numbers on some of those plays over at OddsShopper. Incredible how accurate they've been. Stochastic, that's going to be where you want all of your projection-based analysis. However, Juan Soto to go yard. Give me something close to what we ran into tonight. Give me anything north of plus 350, and this is on the card against DeSclafani. That is a lot of hard hit percentage to be giving up, and I expect major positive regression for Juan Soto when it comes to hitting it out of the yard here. You can't have Fernando Tatis on one side and have the protection in front of him batting first and you batting second, and just have 11 home runs despite this StatCast profile. A 58.9% hard hit percentage and a 390 xWOBA? Come on, bro. Loft it up higher. He's got a little bit of a Christian Yelich syndrome. Just a 4.1 degree average launch angle for Juan Soto. If that improves, you're going to start seeing balls leave the yard and leave the yard in a hurry. Juan Soto homer, just a lean for me, but better than plus 350. Fire that sucker up. You've probably been asking yourself, Eric, you haven't had a lock yet. Eric, I need the locks, Eric. Ask and you shall receive. Last game of the night, we've got the Interstate 5 series. Looking forward to this one. Clayton Kershaw and the Los Angeles Dodgers heading down the 5 to Anaheim to take on Reed Detmers and the Los Angeles Angels. And let's start with Clayton Kershaw because, well, you probably know by now he's pretty good at baseball, right? One of the best pitchers of all time, that's for sure. Sub-3 ERA again this year. 1.11 whip. Still getting it done in the ground ball department. Got 12 of those suckers against the White Sox. Did give up 2 solo shots in that game, and you could give up solo shots in this one pretty likely too. You got Mike Trout, Taylor Ward, Brandon Drury, Hunter Renfroe. Lots of pieces there. You do have Anthony Rendon heading back to the IL. Not that that should surprise anybody, but that is one good righty to take out of this lineup. But the Angels overall this season against lefties, we know what they do. They just do bad things. They have bad intentions. So 113 WRC plus, 169 ISO, and somebody named Michael Trout. He's pretty good. 52% hard hit percentage, 388 xWOBA. Seems pretty good to me. But let's talk about Reed Detmers, because what in the world is going on with this young man here of late? I don't think people have noticed the improvement that we've ran into here of late, but just one earned run in his last 2 appearances against Chicago. But the one that really caught my eye was the Texas Rangers. He gave up 8 fly balls to just 2 ground balls. Didn't matter. Found 8 strikeouts against them, gave up just the 1 solo shot, and looked legitimatately dominant. It was wild. I had to dig back into that start to make sure I wasn't just making stuff up in my head. But he's got a 4.37 expected ERA, despite a 4.48 ERA. And looking at that start, the velocity was back, baby. It's time to rock with Reed Detmers. And this is somebody that they've needed if they were going to be competitive, period, end of story. He's still not getting the whiffs with the 4-seamer, but that slider and curveball combination, they are absolutely nasty. Absolutely nasty. And he throws a lot of them to righties. I mean, that slider specifically to righties, that is just a disaster for righties. 39% whiff percentage, just a 352 expected slugging, and a 211 expected slugging, by the way, on that curveball. Just ridiculous stuff with the off speed. Now, you have to avoid some of the walks. You gotta make sure that thing starts to come down, because that's always been a problem for him. 10.9% back in 2021, down to 9.5% this season in 2023. I think he's turned a corner, and I get that this is a very, very dangerous Dodgers team. They have a 115 WRC plus against lefties here, but there are a couple of inflated box scores, whether it was, Trace Thompson going triple dong early in the season, or Chris Taylor, who's miraculously started to find some form himself. Mookie Betts is always good. You got to get by him. And JD Martinez has been smashing baseballs of late, but you just saw what the Dodgers did over the weekend against San Francisco. It wasn't pretty. It was not pretty at all. But I think Kershaw deals. I think Detmers has a lot more strikeout upside against this Dodgers team than what people think. And as long as that's not leaving the yard, and if he can continue to limit the walks in some way, shape, or form, I'm really kind of bought into him being a lot better going forward. Might be a pitcher to keep an eye on. Think we want to be early to the party on it. I'll talk more in depth tomorrow on Lindy's locks update. Give you the update and all the analysis about why I got here. But under 8.5, going to be a lock to round out our night on Tuesday. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Go to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays on the card for Tuesday. Kind of a wonky one. A lot of stud matchups for pitcher. A lot of really weak pitching matchups. Books did a pretty good job of gauging where my interest is going to lie based on the numbers, based on just a market-based approach, which is what we preach here at Odd Shopper. It's why you want to sign up for BetMGM. And hey, it's not a market-based approach, but it's just awesome, fun grooming stuff. Check out Manscaped down below as well. Thank you to producer Jacob for another lovely 15-game Tuesday. I know they're his favorites. Wednesday, let's just run it back, shall we? Another full slate on tap for that one before. Thank you, God. 8 games on Thursday. Yeah, I looked ahead. It's fine. No big deal. Thank you again for everybody checking out me on Twitter at Eric Lindquist for Lindy's Locks update. I know I brought it up a million times. I promise not to do this throughout every single program next time around. But until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Tuesday.